Have you ever had that one roommate? That one roommate that drives you completely crazy. Doesn't clean, brings home drugs, doesn't pay rent, makes excuses for the reasons why he doesn't pay rent, makes excuses for not cleaning, and the lack of privacy. Yeah, bad roommates are a real thing. And this episode, we're discussing them. Welcome back to another episode of a Wanderer's Way podcast. I'm your host, Dustin, and today we're talking about bad roommates. And I know we all have experiences, and these are my personal experiences, which a lot of people have been asking me to do some past experiences that are not so good, because a lot of people that do know me say that I can write a whole entire book about the experiences I've had in life. Yeah, so we're going to start with the smallest portion of it all. We're going to talk about bad roommates that I've experienced. And with that, I have a lot of stories, so I'm trying to keep this one short. If you guys enjoy it, awesome. If not, let me know. But also, I have a poll for you guys about bad roommates and what you think is the worst thing about having a roommate. So definitely, please do that. It will be on Spotify. So after this is recorded, about 10 minutes or so, it'll be on Spotify, and then the poll will be right below it. So make sure you take that poll for me. With that being said, let's get into it. So I got a couple of these bad roommate experiences that I can talk about. So the first one, I'm going to talk about the recent one that I had, which was about 2.5 years ago now. Since I moved here to Montana, it's the main reason I refuse to get a roommate. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment by myself, but it's so affordable here in Montana. I love it. Oh, and I love the privacy. I love not having anybody here, except for my cat. Sometimes my cat can be a bad roommate. Waking me up every morning, can never sleep in, no matter what. But with that being said, so I lived in California for 5-6 months or so. I didn't really enjoy it, but there were some good things about it. But when I got a roommate, I figured, hey, it's a good friend of mine, so it should work, right? No. As I should have already realized, as they weren't the cleanest people. So I tried to work with it, specified everything. I was like, if I do this, this has to be done and this has to be done. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my shit. And just so you guys are aware, I am bipolar, severely bipolar when it comes to close quarters with people constantly here. So I snap quick, and it's not always like that, but it takes a lot nowadays. When I was younger, I never understood. Now I understood my mental illness and everything, and I can control it, but there's certain times I just cannot control it at all. So this guy would go out, he knows he's getting extra money, bigger pay now for I can't remember the reason, but you have that good pay. He'd bring home $2,000 every week, or every 2 weeks, excuse me. So we have rent, and the rent for our apartment was like, what was it? $900 for each of us. I think that's what it is, because I think it was a total of $1,800. So, I was getting paid higher than him, so I had a little bit more money. But I like to do stuff. I like to go out and enjoy my life. I don't like sitting at home. I don't like, or at least that's how it used to be. Nowadays, it's completely opposite. But here, this guy would go out when he got that check for $2,000 and go out and spend it. You know what he spent it on? Coke. Instead of selling it, he would use it. Like, come on. This is just ridiculous. So not only do I have the drugs now in the house and I can get in trouble for it, but he's also, knowing California, you can smoke weed legally. I have no problem with it. I really don't. I just don't want it in my bedroom where everything stinks up. Just like cigarettes, I just don't like the smell. But I have no problem with it. He was a different kind of breed. And he brought the realization of my greatest fear to life one night, which my greatest fear is death by fire. This guy smoked so much to make him so fucking stoned. He fell asleep against the wall in the living room. Smoke detector was going off. He didn't even wake up. I woke him up. Oh, I lost it. That's when my bipolar just hit right away. I lost it. Smoke detector's going off. I go over to the stove, grab whatever was on there, throw it in the sink, and pour water over it. Come to find out, it is boiling water with noodles. Yeah, he fell asleep, and they've been on that stovetop for that long to where the noodles baked and turned black. To the point where you couldn't clean the pot. You had to throw the whole damn thing away. Yeah, I was fucking livid. I could not. No. And the worst part about it, too, when he smokes, he was so bad that, he would forget about the toilet and go piss in the tub. Half the time, he wouldn't even make it in a tub. It would just be right on the floor. I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm a very freaking neat freak. You'd be surprised if there's even one dish in the sink. Like, I have no problem. Rinse your plate off, leave it in the sink. Okay, I'm fine with that. As long as it's not stacking up. No, he would literally have them stacking up over the sink when I get home from somewhere. If I go out for the night for a nightclub or to a bar or whatever. Because, I was in Sacramento. So, yeah, I was right in downtown. So, yeah. And I'd get home and there's a stack of fucking shit that's not rinsed, not clean, nothing. I'm like, dude, I'm losing my patience. I finally came down to it to where the whole entire friendship that we had was completely ruined. I had enough of it. I had enough of it being 95 degrees outside. He wanted to do his coke, so he turned the AC off, and I'm dying in my bed. Wake up in the middle of the night, can't breathe. He's out there, all fine with it. Oh, it's blowing the coke everywhere. You fucking asshole. So yeah, there's that scenario of a bad roommate. And a relationship-wise of friendship. So I had another one. Way back when. Actually, two others. And these are a little more quick. So, the first one I want to talk about was with a friend of mine that was, gay. I had no problem with it. I don't care what you are. Just leave it to yourself, don't force me to be anything. You're finally catching on to the story. So everything was good. I was struggling at that time. It was not too long after my wife left me. I was miserable, very suicidal. I still haven't gotten grip on my bipolar and PTSD and everything else there, know how to control it. So I was not rational at all. I was irrational all the time. But this guy had the nerve to tell me, if you're not going to be gay with me, leave. So they kicked me out. And I wasn't going to be gay just to have a home. If I was gay or if I was bi, I probably would have. But I'm not, so. And at the worst peak of my time, going back to homelessness. And I call up one of my old friends, which just leads into the next bad roommate. Yeah, he saved me for a little bit. I thought he was a good friend. He was a little off. Well, that's fine, because I'm clearly off. I'm clearly off the walls. So after that, went back to my mother's for a little bit or something. I can't remember. I'm kind of blacked out on that little area. So later on, the guy that kind of rescued me and let me stay at his place until my mother picked me up to help me out, So I went down, lived with my best friend in New York City. You know, I was still bad at that time, but he and I actually were able to get along. There was sometimes we had a little bit of, as anybody would. But I was still struggling with my bipolar. This is the time when I actually did get diagnosed completely, fully, not just, oh, I think I had bipolar. I was fully diagnosed with it. Because they wouldn't diagnose me as a kid. I was afraid of doctors, always still am. But yeah, when I was in New York City, I got diagnosed with it, plus the PTSD, severe depression, and anxiety. And I was still struggling with a lot of things in my head. I did not know how to really keep myself on the straight path. So again, for like the 50,000th time, I moved. So nothing wrong with my best friend. Like he and I even offered him to move here with me. He's the only one I think I can ever roommate with, to be honest. But with that being said, I went back up to upstate New York, to Lyons. And this is the one that rescued me from the one that kicked me out because I refused to be gay with him. And he, everything was kind of okay. His family seemed to have liked me. I'm still struggling, as I said. I still have my issue. But he never told me his issue, his mental health problem, which I found out when I went to look for medication in the Mir, which he told me to go to. I need ibuprofen or something. And I walked in and I'm like, wait a second, what is this? You see something and you're just like, and you're like, I can't look, but I had to. I then noticed that he had antipsychotic medication. I was like, oh, okay. And I don't care. I really don't care, because I technically would be on them. Although medications have made it worse for my suicidal ideation, so I don't take medications right now. But he never told me exactly what it was. He always explained that people hated him and so on and so forth. I understand now. At the time, I try to make things work. I try to be nice, but there's times when see, at this time, I argue a lot. You say one thing that I disagree with, I'm like, no, that's not right. And see, that was my biggest issue. I didn't know how to keep my mouth shut, and I didn't know how to sit there, listen, be quiet. So, that kind of caused a little conflict between us. And he was kind of similar in my way, too. He would do the same thing. It came down to the time when we were not getting along. And then, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what happened, but he threatened to kill me. Yeah, he straight out said, I'm going to kill you. So I left. I left to another guy's house down the road, which later on find out that, that wasn't a smart idea. I didn't know until years afterwards. I found out he went to prison for something. I was like, wow, good thing I left when I did. Because after that, I went to Colorado and Denver, which was a semi-nice experience. I loved Denver. But I still went to stay with another friend. He and I are still friends, thankfully. But we don't get along either. And, I still had my problems. And I also didn't have confidence myself either. So yeah, like there's, I can't say I was the best roommate in the world. But let me tell you, I always paid my rent. And I always kept everything clean. Outside of that, it's just me dealing with my mental illness and being with other people is very hard. So there's days when I want to be left alone and I want no one around at all. So that's why I live by myself. So, I would really love to hear everyone else's experiences with bad roommates and what shaped you as a person that said, fuck roommates, I'm living by myself. I don't care how much I have to pay. Like, that's where I'm at. But it's actually been nice too. It's so nice to just, knowing you can come home, get naked at any point, roam around, have fun, do this, do that, all by yourself. If you make a mess, it's your mess. It's not someone else's. So you're not cleaning up after someone else. So let me tell you, even cleaning up after my cat when he vomits pisses me off, especially in the morning. Like on my days off, I'll go over, feed him, eats 2 fasts, and then also have on top of that massive hairballs from licking himself all night when I'm sleeping. And then I'm trying to go back to sleep, and I'm like, fuck. See, I get really intense sometimes. And that's also another reason. It's not just other people, it's me, and that I know myself. So there are certain things that I can do. Certain people I can be around. People that are fun, positive, uplifting. Like, those are the type of people that I can really be with. And people that are real. Like, I mean very real. They're going to tell you. If you're just way over your head, they're going to tell you, hey, nothing wrong with it. Just bring it down a little. I can live with people like that, which is pretty much my best friend. But in the end, I've realized I am way better off when I'm living by myself. And it's my own place. Then I don't have to worry about being homeless. I don't have to worry about someone else kicking me out. I don't have to worry about keeping someone else happy. They have to keep me happy. Yeah. Well, that being said, I will be back here next week. Hopefully I have my guest ready so we can do a really cool episode for you guys. And it's going to be my second guest. Just trying to get everything set in gear. So let's hope everything works out. With that being said, you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you here next week.